Okay, folks, we are back here at the Reg.A Money Show, and as promised, we're going to talk about a significant anniversary and these emerging growth companies. So, Miguel, what do we got going on with this?
Well, look, first let's talk a little bit about what this actually means. The emerging growth companies, also known as EGCs, right? A lot of these guys are going to be losing that designation, Ron, because that designation came out. I think it was back in April of 2012 when they actually created the new category to go alongside with the Title I of the Jobs Act, okay? So all of this, you got to remember, guys, you got to go back to 2012 when the Jobs Act started to take form. They came out with Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV. Essentially what Ron and I have been doing here on the Reg.A Money Show for the last year or so is we've been talking about a very specific part of the Jobs Act, which is Title IV, which is Tier 1 and Tier 2 of Reg.A. But inside that, I want you to understand that there was a lot of classification that went on besides, Reg.A, which was mandated by Congress, and the SEC came back and they said, okay, we got this Reg.A, we're going to do a Tier 1 and a Tier 2, and they also classified, the emerging growth companies. Now, if you look at it, and if you go onto the Securities and Exchange Commission's website, and listen, I always recommend everybody that we talk to, like guys like Jimmy, guys, go on to the SEC's website, which is sec.gov. Okay, there's a lot of great information on there. They have a portal there that gets you all kinds of information if you're thinking about investing in Reg.As. Some of the disclosures that you're looking at. What does it mean to be a Reg.A company? What are your regulations? There's a lot of good stuff on there. We've been working trying to get a guest on the show from the SEC, but it has to be an informal. So we're still working on that for you guys. But, pretty soon we'll have somebody on there that we can talk a little bit more about. But, hey, this thing that we're talking about today is just a way for a filer, okay, or an issuer or a company to use this designation as an emerging growth company. Now, what that means is you have the startup, and then the startup can fall under this emerging growth company, which gives you the ability to do accelerated filings, IPO, Reg.A, because you're doing it under this classification. Now, a lot of the guys that took this classification on when it first came out, they're going to lose this classification, Ron, because it's already been 5 years. And I think
let me stop you. Miguel, let me stop you for a second here. This classification, this is a SEC classification?
Yeah, the SEC is the classification that allowed you to have the creation of the emerging growth company that passed back in, when they did it, once they started to bring out the new, because first the Jobs Act was mandated by Congress, and then the SEC had to take a look at it and say, okay, look, this is the way that we want to regulate this. We want to have this classification of companies. We want to have, Reg.A. We want to have it in Tier 1 and Tier 2. So this is all that you're going to see, and then, and I keep over skipping because it's something that we talk about, which, is crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is available today because of the Jobs Act, So if you're going to raise, I think, less than $5 million, right, you can go to one of these outside crowdfunding platforms and list some of your securities and list them there, right, as long as you don't reach that $5 million threshold. Now, there's $1 million threshold, too. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different thresholds that you look at, Tier 1, Tier 2, and then Tier 4, Title. Sorry. I get my tiers and my titles all mixed up, Ron. I'm sorry about that. So Title 1, right, was for, startups, right? So $1 million or less, then you have $5 million, and then you go up to what we always like to talk about, which is Reg.A, which you have Title I, which everybody knows is the $20 million raise in a 12-month period, and then you have the $50 million in an annual period under Title II, right? So I'm sorry, Tier 2. Mm-hmm. So Tier 2 allows you to raise up to 50. But so essentially what we're talking about here is this thing that you and I have been doing for the last year, we're just kind of at the beginning of it, Ron. we're talking about celebrating a 5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
We're talking about celebrating a 1-year anniversary, because we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary of the show just a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, right? So if you guys are listening for the first time on this show, you guys have tuned in to the Reg.A Money Show with me, Miguel Dotres, and Ron Costa. We bring you information that is in regard to everything that's about Reg.A, but specifically Reg.A Tier 2 is the one that we always like to talk about, because we feel that this one is the one that has the most exciting. So when we talk about celebrating anniversaries and things like that, I just want to let you guys know that this Reg.A industry, it's just beginning. We're at the very forefront. We had a guest on the show the other day. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's interesting how we're talking about a 5-year anniversary of this, but really the most of the movement on this has been over the last year, and we're seeing how many products are out there right now. Reg.A was 200 or so, and it's going to rise exponentially, just like our show, basically. So it's amazing the growth that's happened in the past year compared to the, let's say, 4 years previously.
Right. No, and it's just going to continue to go that way, Ron, because a lot of guys have realized that there is a great opportunity to access the capital markets, not unlike anything that's ever happened in this country. And because of the Jobs Act, we're able to do that. You got to remember that when the Jobs Act passed back in 2012, it took the SEC about a year and about 14, 15 months to actually come back and say, oh, my God, look, guys, Congress, you guys set up all these sweeping new laws, and you want to do all this stuff, but we protect our investors and we got to protect our issuers. So it took them about 13 months or so to kind of even just to get the Reg.A rules and regulations out, Ron. So it's still a work in progress. It's still a work in progress. FINRA, the SEC, companies, startups, Reg.A Money Show. Everybody is still in the process of kind of getting everything where it needs to be, so we can bring more information and we can have more transparency and we can have more reporting issuers, and we can really take this industry to the forefront of where it's going to go, Ron.
Yep,
absolutely. And also remember, Ron, that the classifications. I mean, if you really want to get into it and you guys want to be able to get some more information on the actual show, Ron, why don't you tell them where they can find us on the Reg.A Money Show, where they can find us, all our information one more time. We're going to cut it right here because I got to get ready for NEBA, and we got to get ready for our next. But listen, guys, thank you so much for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it so very much from you guys. And then, Ron, just let them know where they can find us and how they can find us so they can be a part of the show.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, we're over at regamoney.com. That's REGA money.com. We keep a news site at IPO2go.com. That's IPOTOGO.com, so you can find us there. And then we're basically all over the place as far as the syndication, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, etc., Alexa. We're just everywhere. And Miguel, the easiest way is just to go onto Google, type in Reg.A Show or Reg.A Offerings or Reg.A anything, and we'll pretty much pop up on that first page at this point. So it's easy to follow the show. We ask you to go there, go to the Spreaker website, follow our show. Like us on Facebook. We have a Facebook account out there. We keep updating that as well. And everything that we talk about, Miguel, a lot of the things that we reference, we pretty much put on our website as well. So people who talk about links, we can go to those links online, and you'll be directed to what we're talking about here on the show. Specifically on that first part, with the difference between the listing, that was a great segment, and we have that all detailed on IPO to go. So people can find that out real easily.
Right, Ron. Yeah. And then listen, I don't want to hold back from our listeners because we always bring everything that's to the forefront. Today we talked about Title I, Title II of the Jobs Act. We know how we talked about that segment, Ron, that we were going to do about the contenders, the up and coming companies.
Oh yes,
yes. Yeah. We're gonna bring you guys. We're gonna be closing here in just a minute, but before we close, I wanted to bring this contender thing because, we've been talking about this. We've had a few companies that have approached us. We think that we now got to kind of, vet it out about who we're looking for, specifically what we're looking for to get, from these companies and understanding what they're looking for and stuff. So we're going to be bringing you some very, very interesting stuff. We're going to be talking about guys who are actually participating possibly in a crowdfunding platform that are doing their first crowdfunding, prior to getting to the Reg.A stage. So you guys are going to be getting a lot of different stuff, but we want to give you a nice flavor. We want to give you a nice, a nice overview of the entire ecosystem of what this Jobs Act has done. Ron and I like to talk to you about Reg.A, and we like to talk to you about Reg.A Tier 2, Reg.A Plus Tier 2, but we also want you guys to have a good understanding and to have a really good overview of the entire ecosystem of what the Jobs Act has done and how it has allowed companies to access markets that have not been available to them up to this time. So you have to stay tuned to that, because that's going to be an incredible show. It's going to be an incredible segment. We got that segment. We got our guest segments that we're bringing you professionals. And then we also have our listeners' question segment. Ron, this is an incredible show. I'm glad to be a part of it. If you guys are listening to it, you're listening to the Reg.A funding. You're listening to the Reg.A Money Show with me and Miguel Dotres and Ron Costa. And thank you guys for listening. And Ron, take us out, baby.
Yeah, again, just like you said, Miguel, thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it all. And we'll be back at you next week with another Reg.A Money Show. So everybody out there, have a great week, and we'll see you then. Thanks a lot for listening.